What about this for a banter signing then? Marko Arnautovic. It looks like we're all going to be jumping aboard the banter bus if that is the case, because Sky Sports News breaking yesterday that United are interested in signing the West Ham winger, forward, midfielder. He plays literally everywhere. Marko Arnautovic for a fee of £50 million is what's being touted around. Mark Goldbridge from the United Stand is on with me today. And do you know what? I'm actually really excited to chat to you about this, Mark. We've spoken a few times in the past, and I've seen some of your tweets about Marko Arnautovic. Banter signing was your phrase. And that was one to get you out your seat, wasn't it, yesterday afternoon?
It was. I mean, it was DiMarzio a week ago who mentioned him with Mandzukic. And I've got to be honest, I would prefer Arnautovic over Mandzukic because Mandzukic is 32 and Arnautovic is Premier League proven. But the reason I said banter signing is because he is a Stoke and West Ham signing, and funnily enough, that's where he's played. And on his day, he's a good player. And I just feel it's a 6'3" Fellaini replacement for Mourinho to have on the bench. But I just do not for 1 minute think that he's a Manchester United standard quality player, and I think Mourinho needs to move away from those sort of signings, especially if we're going to close the gap with City.
Do you know, it really shocked me when it popped up on my timeline, because as you said, there's been rumours like jumping about since the start of the transfer window, really. And I think it probably does signal that Fellaini's going. So there's one little bit of celebration there, quite possibly. But Arnautovic, the money's mad, but it's not my money. Just to jump into the stats quickly, he's around 6'3". So as you said, very strong, very big. Mourinho doesn't sign anyone under 6 foot, apart from maybe Fred. Looks like he's on his way as well. He's had 5 seasons in the Premier League. He's scored 28 goals, 17 assists. That's over the past 3 seasons, and that's at West Ham and Stoke. 63 games he has played during that time. So he's very Premier League experienced, Mark. So a guy here, if he does join United, it's not like he's jumping out of a league and he's got to prove himself. He's got a lot of Premier League experience.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I mean, I think if he was maybe 25, I'd be more into it, because I think he is a player that he would maybe have 5 games a season where he's brilliant and 35 games where he's mediocre. And if he's 25, come under Mourinho. Mourinho gives him that consistency, that top level standard. But at 29, is he going to hit the ground running like Van Persie did at 29, or Sanchez, who didn't hit the ground running, but I think will be a good signing? I just don't think he's got that quality behind him to come in at United at 29, sit on the bench and suddenly play very consistently well at the top level, which is what you need. So, and at the price you're saying there, I mean, £50 million. I mean, apparently West Ham don't want to sell him anyway, so you're going to have to pay good money. If 20 million, you might twist my arm, but not at the price and the age that he is. I just think it's not the right sort of signing. But who else is there, I suppose? And the Fellaini going is the positive.
I think the other name mentioning was Mandzukic, wasn't it? As you mentioned earlier on. But I do agree with you. In terms of the two, I'd rather have that Premier League proven player. And also what I quite like about him is he's going to be stepping up. It's going to be, and obviously he's at Inter, biggest club he's played for, and he has also watched United dominate for years whilst he was in the Premier League, and he's also seen how United have deteriorated slightly and are now getting back up that path. He's worked with Mourinho before as well. As you said, it just smells of a Mourinho signing, doesn't it? It's just a typical Jose Mourinho signing.
Definitely, yeah. And I think because of that Fellaini leaving, and let's not forget, Mourinho wanted to keep Fellaini. Fellaini's going, and we're happy when he goes, but that's his own choice. So Jose obviously wanted Fellaini for a certain reason, and we all know that's height. So he probably looks around his squad and goes, well, Fred's 5'6". He needs him to be the other way around, really. And he obviously wants an option off the bench. Like you, Mandzukic is 32, not you personally, but like you, I agree. He's 32.
Cheers,
he's 32, and it's not, you know, it's very short term that. But I don't think we'll do the Arnautovic deal. I think Mandzukic is probably more likely, which is, again, I would prefer Arnautovic if we were doing a deal like that.
32. We're not getting Goldbridge on again. Not happening, is it? I tell you. Right. 50 mil was the rumoured fee. What else could we get for 50 million out there? I think that is a big question. In terms of money, Mark, a lot of rival fans talk about money more than the actual club getting the player itself fans. I don't think a lot of other footballing fans know the Man United sort of side of thinking when it comes to transfers, because of the whole Glazer-esque row and everything that happened the last 6-7 years under Sir Alex Ferguson, the investments, etc. I've always had, when it's come to transfers, the mindset that it's not my money. I do not care what the club pays for a player. But when you look at an Arnautovic for 50 million, to you, can Woodward make this still happen for this? Or do you think that it will be just a straight, West Ham are asking for this, United, you either pay it or you don't get the player?
I suppose with a player like that, and we've seen it over the years, whether it's... there's not
going to be anyone else interested in him for 50 million.
And the player,
or even 40 million.
And the player himself, the little I know about him, I think he's the sort of player that goes on strike, forces the move, and that's always the problem for the smaller clubs in the Premier League, that Manchester United comes knocking, no matter what we think of Arnautovic. He's going to be like, that's an opportunity of a lifetime to go and play there. So I think the player can force the move. West Ham can say, oh yeah, we're not selling him, and they only got him a year ago, I think. But if he forces that move, then West Ham, you could see a deal being done for about 30, which I still think is too much. If United are genuinely in for him, he can force that move without a doubt.
Let's take you to an absolutely amazing dream, Mark. You're asleep. Fellaini's announced that he's leaving the club. You're so happy in your sleep. All of a sudden, breaking news. Marko Arnautovic has signed for Manchester United. The dream, because of that, slightly better. But then you wake up in shock horror because you've realised that this could mean something awful for Martial, Rashford and Mata. Where does it leave these guys if Arnautovic does come in? I mean, we know if he does come in, that probably means bye-bye Fellaini, but what does that mean for our other strikers and creative players within the side?
I think Fellaini would be replaced by Arnautovic or Mandzukic, simply because it's that last 20 minutes long ball into the box option. In relation to Martial and Mata, I think they're the two attackers that may go. I think that's going to be dependent on whether United jump into the market for somebody big, the Bale, the Griezmann, whoever. And I do fear for Mata and Martial. I hope Martial stays. Mata, touching 13, might fancy, an Indian summer in Spain, go back home. But yeah, I don't necessarily see Arnautovic or Mandzukic being intrinsically linked to the Martial Matters situations. I would hope they're just the Fellaini option.
Go on then, Mark, give us your lowdown. What are you thinking? Out of 10, where would you rate this rumour of Marko Arnautovic? Do you think it's likely to happen? Will you be happy if it happens as a final thought? And out of 10, what are you saying?
You know what? Mourinho was at the Austria game last night for Russia. He was also, Di Marzio also ran it a week ago, who I've got a lot of time for. So I would say Arnautovic a 7 out of 10, which is, pretty high really. And if it means he's a replacement for Fellaini, there will be an element of happiness there, but I think we could do a lot better.
All aboard the banter bus then, Mark?
We're all aboard the banter bus, yeah. Better than the Fellaini bandwagon, which has been going too long.